Welcome to Fitch Painting Repairs Garage. Today's project, we're going to give you a little update on the Triumph barn finds. These are the gas tanks that we're having to deal with. This is the tank that was on the 63, which is this one right here. And the problem we're having is this polyresin fiberglass tank has just got a lot of cracks and stress fractures, and I've repaired it. And we got to see if we've got all the leaks fixed, but if not, we've got this one ready to go. We'll weld it on the new tab and bond it a little bit. We've got this dent to deal with, but hopefully that's a good tank. We'll probably go with that one on the 63, just because that fiberglass one, and the bike will end up going all black, most likely. All right, update on the 67 Triumph. This is the update on it. We've got the tag mounted up here now. We had it mounted down here, but after snagging my knee on it, I figured it better go up here. It's higher, it's a lot more visible. And what we've got going on this bike is carburetor time. We've got a float needle valve that was sticking on the number 2 cylinder, and it was flooding the carburetor, pouring fuel all over the ground. So we've got that one off the bike. We tore it all apart and found out indeed the float needle valve is seized. It will not operate and function properly. Otherwise, the rest of the carburetor is all cleaned and ready to go. We just got to pull that float bowl off and change out that valve. Check the float height on this. There's no real spec on this particular. I heard this is called a VM40. It's a 40 millimeter spigot carburetor, round slide, Mikuni, and we found new float needle valves for this. We got it on order. It should be in soon, and we've also got a brake cable coming for this bike. We had bought one, but it came with the wrong end. This one's got a ball end on it, and we needed the barrel end. And also the reach end of this, where it connects to this fitting right here, it isn't quite long enough, and it only engages about that far or so. It doesn't really engage all the way like it should, and I've had to adjust the brake to where it basically isn't functional. So we've ordered a new one. This one here was the 42. It's the stock length that's on that one, and so we were hoping it would work. It did not, and we needed a custom length one. We found one that's longer, and we're just waiting on it. It's coming in the mail as well. So that's where we're at. We're hoping that this bike goes ahead and fire right up. Last time we had it running, it smoked a little heavier than we anticipated it to, but we did have some Marvel mystery oil in the tank. So it was probably extremely rich. So what we'll do is we'll put some fresh gas in it and fire it up again after we get the carburetors, and hopefully she won't smoke. But looking up in this valve port, up into the intake manifold port, if you can kind of see up in there, which you might not be able to see up in there with that, but the carburetor, it's very carboned up in there on the valve. So most likely this will eventually need a top end job, but we're hoping that it's rideable at this point. So we've got our headlight, taillight, brake light, all that hooked up. Disconnect that battery so we're not having a parasitic drain or anything. We haven't had an issue so far. I've gone through and completely rewired this bike, just a simple wire. We used a complete wire color scheme on it, black and red. That's what we've got wire-wise in the shop. And with the price of copper and copper wire right now, I am going to use what I've got. And I like the idea of the black and red, and it's a very simple setup. We've got an on and off switch on here. Right here, that's an ignition on right there, and this is our headlight. We've got, oop, I disconnected the battery. Let me hook the battery back up real quick. Let me turn that off. We'll hook the battery back up real quick, and we'll show you guys our lights. All right, ignition on gives us tail light and a functional tag light, and the brake light will operate as well with just the ignition on and the headlight off. So we've got a nice bright tail light and brake light, tag light, and then the other switch that we have over here is down is low beam, up is high beam, middle is off. So brand new plug wires on it. Coils are all tucked in. We built this little panel down here for it. That's where we're at right now. So we're just waiting on some parts, and hopefully this machine will be up and running. And if she's not a smoker, when we get her fired back up, then we'll go up and get a tag for it, and we'll throw some miles on the bike. I'm hoping this thing is a roller, man. I'm hoping so. But this one over here, the 63, is definitely in need of a gas tank repair. Yep, this is a 63 TR6 with a 66 TR6 SS engine on it. It's not a numbers matching motorcycle by any means. It, as far as I understand, in the estate paperwork that I got where I purchased the bike from, this machine most likely was a build project, and I think it dates back to 2003 was the build project date on it. But I'm not 100% certain. And no means is this bike stock configuration. It's mostly a stock frame, handlebars have been changed, gas tank's been changed, the seat's been changed, but I have the original seat, I have the original gas tank. I do not have the original handlebars or triple tree setup and headlight nacelle. This is an aftermarket, I believe, headlight nacelle setup on here, and these little Z bars, but it's in pretty good shape. Fork seals probably need to be fixed on it. She's leaking just a little bit. Every time I strap it down on the lift, it puddles up a little bit of fork oil on there, so we'll have to go through that eventually. But otherwise, this machine here is ready to ride, tagged and street ready. As soon as I get the tank situated, figured out on it, I don't believe I'll be going back with this tank. This is a poly resin fiberglass tank. This tab was busted off. The rear one was cracked. We had to rebuild all that, and we refiberglassed the entire bottom of the tank because it was leaking up there in the tunnel. There was two small pinholes right about in the center line of the petcock holes there, right down in the center. So we refiberglassed the entire bottom of the tank and everything, and then after we painted it, we got these blisters in the paint, and come to find out after I sanded it all down and got down to the poly surface that it had a bunch of microfiber cracks in it down to this surface right here. And we have some microfiber micro cracks, very small cracks that had developed. And what had happened was, after putting gas in it, it developed these little blisters in the paint, and you can barely see that one right there. See it? So there's probably some little cracks underneath the paint there as well. So I was trying to save this teal color and keep it matching the bike, but probably gonna have to paint that. So this new tank, I'm gonna probably just go ahead and put it on there and run it for right now. I'm probably not even gonna paint it. I'm just gonna stick it on there. We welded on a new tab, did a little Bondo work on it to fill in, you know, my crappy little welds, but it's solid. And went ahead and JB welded it just in case there was any tiny little pinholes in my welds. And so far she has leak tested with vinegar, and now we have rinsed it all out, and I put some Marvel Mystery Oil in the tank because it did have a little bit of surface rust, but this was a brand new tank, never been installed on a bike. This tab was tack welded, but it had snapped off, so I actually the original one was a lot shorter right there, and to put it on that 63 I needed a little longer reach back here, so I built a whole nother tab and welded that on. I have to elongate the hole just slightly on the front and back just to clear the bars. I've got like a 1/16 of an inch clearance right now. I'd like to gain, you know, at least 3/8 of an inch clearance, just for flexing purposes and all that stuff, vibration and things like that. But if she's working, she's running, I'm happy. So if y'all want to stay tuned, hit the like button, subscribe, share, notify all your friends, and let them know about the channel. Hopefully both of these machines will be road ready once I get the parts in to put them carburetors together, and at that point then we'll get them road tested and find out if we're ready to sell. Yes, sell. I did say sell. We're probably going to sell both of the machines. Definitely going to sell this one right here. You know, if you want to private message me for the price, you know, please do. Now that one right there, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to sell it or not. I might not. I might hold on to this one. Depends on how good of a running bike it is and how I enjoy it. I still haven't had it out on the road for very long. I have high speed tested this one, but I've only put total, I have put 41.2 miles on it since I've had the bike, test riding it and dialing it in. 25,957 is the mileage on that bike. Probably the mileage since it was configured and put together in 2003, but who knows. It's a very clean engine inside. The valves look very good looking down through the intake ports and looking into the exhaust ports. I put new exhaust on it. What else did I do? Not a whole lot. New exhaust, cleaned the carburetors out, cleaned the plugs out, put new oil in it, battery, and the gas tank. The gas tank was the reason why the bike had been parked, I believe. It had showed evidence on the cylinder, had fuel running all down on this other side over here. It was just all coated in residue from the fuel tank leaking. So we got her up and running. She's good to go. All right, stay tuned.